LoveLore Library. Chapter 9:12. I agree to this marriage. Mu Ling was speechless after hearing Gu Shi's words. He shut his mouth and his eyes were gloomy. Father. Gu Yi stood up angrily. How can you not ask me before you marry me to Qin Yin? Have you considered my feelings? Gu Shi, who was very confident just now, was now being timid in front of Gu Yi. My dear girl, I'm just doing it for your sake. Little Qin Yin is handsome and has a good personality. He is not the kind of person who judges people by their appearance. More importantly, you know about the issues between Shao Qing and the Mu family, right? You might be able to discuss Shao Qing with him in the future. After much deliberation, it was decided that Mu Qin Yin was really not bad. Back when he ordered people to look for a husband for Gu Yi. Why did no one think of Mu Qin Yin? Actually, it was normal that other people did not consider Mu Qin Yin since his health was not in the best shape. He might fall dead at any given moment. The chief manor's young lady must not be a widow. Thus, Mu Qin Yin was no longer in their considerations. Father. Today is old Master Mu's birthday. We will discuss these matters when we return. Don't make any trouble at his birthday party, Gu Shi said, patiently. Although Gu Yi was usually wayward, she still knew when to behave depending on the situation. Her eyes were full of grievances. She finally sat down angrily and did not say a single word. The voices surrounding the discussion stopped abruptly. A chilling sound could be heard. Everyone was looking around since they did not know where the sound came from. Time stood still and the sound of breathing continued. The moon was cold and the night was silent. The girl was so beautiful. She was as beautiful as a demon in a red coat and was as majestic as an empress. Standing beside her was a handsome man who looked like a fairy. The cold moonlight draped downward and covered him. To the far right of the girl was an indifferent and elegant woman whose actions were so pleasing and attractive. On her own, Luo Li was also very good-looking. Unfortunately, everyone took no notice of her when she stood behind these three people. Those people could only see the three of them. Are they Lady Sui and young Master Nan Xian? The crowd could not help but gasp. When Lady Sui took Nan Xian away, Nan Xian was only a few years old. Now, almost 20 years had passed. Why was she still so young? Me for extra chapters. She looked the same as she was 20 years ago. Chen Qingyan clenched her fists quietly. She was a little embarrassed. She was relatively young and beautiful among her peers. But even so, she was still at the age where there was already some wrinkles on her face despite using spirit herbs to maintain the youth of her skin. Sui was older than her. However, everyone might think that Sui was younger than her when they stood together. Chen Qingyan, who was always proud of her looks, could not bear it. It felt like a needle poking into her heart and it hurt. It was also at this moment that Chen Qingyan finally realized why Mu Ling would never forget Sui. Mu Ling might have really loved her before Sui showed up. Nonetheless, Mu Ling only had affection, gratitude, and pity for her since he met Sui. It was particularly so. Mu Ling had always felt that he owed her. Therefore, even if he did not care about Sui, he must take care of her. But what she wanted was his heart. Love with gratitude would never win desperate love. Why have you come? Chapter 9:13. I agree to this marriage. Mu Ling turned to look at Feng Ruqing in fury. This woman had made his son be rebellious and convinced Sui to believe so deeply in her. Now, she even dared to come to the Mu family. Sui slightly smiled. Qing'er is my daughter-in-law. Why can't she come? This sentence was like a heavy punch that had instantly awakened everyone present. They were still curious about the girl's identity. However, they did not expect the girl to be Nan Xian's lover. Some people turned to look at Gu Yi. No matter who Gu Shi had chosen as his son-in-law now, Nan Xian was once Gu Yi's fiancée. Gu Yi had even taunted Qin Fei, whom she was so familiar with. This woman would surely be taunted too. Of course, some of these people had also attended Gu Yi's birthday. Now that they knew the relationship between Feng Ruqing and Nan Xian, their expressions were getting stranger. Suyi. The old master was shocked at first and soon came back to his senses. He quickly came down from the stage and hurried to Suyi's side. They didn't lie to me. You have really come back today. If you didn't come back, I would have been bullied to death. Suyi's heart ached. The old master was really good to her. Back then, she had left without saying goodbye to him. She had not seen him for years. Manor Master, Mu Ying said coldly. Lady Suyi obviously did not acknowledge the Mu family as her own. Thus, she had left home. Why do you always follow behind her and please her? What for? Second uncle is right. Manor Master, the Mu family is not a place where people can just come and go as they please. Manor Master, Qin Yan alone is enough for the Mu family. We don't need her. However, Nan Xian is the blood of the Mu family. He is not allowed to linger around outside. He must return. By the way, what is this little girl's identity? If her status is acceptable, we can let her stay and be Nan Xian's concubine. Those with low status are not qualified to enter the Mu family. Nan Suyi was an orphan who was lonely and helpless in the past. She should not be a part of the Mu family, but since Manor Master agreed to let her in, we could not say much. But still, the difference between an educated person and an uneducated one is very big. Just look at Lady Qin Yan, she has managed the Mu family very well. On the contrary, Nan Suyi was like a crazy girl and always did what she wanted me for extra chapters. Which lady would do such things as she would? We have already given her enough respect by not asking her to be Mu Ling's concubine. How dare she not give Mu Ling face for such petty matter? These people were all the Mu family's relatives. Nonetheless, the Mu family had its own rules. All people must address the Manor Master respectfully except the Manor Master's direct blood family. Therefore, even if they were his relatives, they still had to address him as Manor Master. These people had expressed their disdain and dissatisfaction with Suyi. It seemed that Suyi's existence was a shame to the Mu family. The only useful thing she had done was giving birth to a talented child, Nan Xian, for the Mu family. Suyi, Nan Xian, and Feng Ruqing did not give any form of response regardless of what these head people said. They simply listened to those criticisms, quietly. Old Master Mu had wanted to yell several times, but Suyi had stopped him by signaling him with her eyes. Those people automatically stopped after they were done speaking their minds, rendering everyone else speechless. Chapter 9:14. I agree to this marriage via insult after insult was hurled. They all shouted loudly and their faces were red with resentment in their eyes. There was a chuckle in the quiet hall. The laughter was like a breeze passing by, slowly. Luoli, do you remember the names of those people? Luoli nodded. I have written them all in a small book. Great. Feng Ruqing let go of Suyi's hand. She walked forward, slowly. Did you think that we are here for the birthday party? You're wrong. We're here to settle accounts with the Mu family. We must get back what the Mu family owes Suyi and Nan Xian. Gu Yi put her hand to one side of her cheek and blinked. She looked at Feng Ruqing with admiration. Xiao Qing was so cool. What could she do? She really liked Xiao Qing. She wanted to marry Xiao Qing. Gu Shi looked at Feng Ruqing. He then saw his daughter's shy face and loving eyes. He was a little wary. You You must remember that you are a girl. So what? Gu Shi was silent. A girl could not marry a girl. Gu Shi did not dare to say it out loud. He was afraid that Gu Yi would fight him. It's not good staring at people like this. Your saliva is about to fall off. Hurry up and wipe it off. Ever since Sui had appeared, those people who did not pay attention to Gu Yi were stunned when they heard Gu Shi's words. Then they found that Gu Yi was staring straight at Feng Ruching like an idiot in love. Only Sui, Nan Xian, and Feng Ruching were at the door. Gu Yi certainly could not be staring at the two women, which meant that she still could not forget Nan Xian. Those who had not participated in Gu Yi's birthday looked at Feng Ruching sympathetically. The man whom Gu Yi liked would never be snatched away by someone else. Gu Shi was so protective of his daughter. He would never let this happen. It seemed that this girl must have offended the chief manor. Maiden. Mu Ying's face darkened a little. You're too presumptuous. Settling accounts. Were there any issues that need to be settled between the Mu family and Sui? Even if there were issues, it should be between Sui and Qing Yan. She owed Qing Yan too much that she might not be able to pay everything back in this lifetime. Grandfather. The young man standing on the sidelines glanced at Feng Ruching and smiled. Don't reason too much with this girl, just throw her out. How could a wild girl of unknown origin enter the Mu family with her appearance? Me for extra chapters. Ridiculous. Bang! Just as the young man wanted to step forward, Feng Ruching threw him out. He was flung through the air before he hit the banquet table. No one saw what Feng Ruching had done. Mu Ying's face sank. No one had expected that this girl would really cause a commotion at the Mu family. He was about to get angry. The old master's laughter sounded again in this quiet banquet hall. Great fight, ha ha ha. You fight so well, just kill all those shitty grandchildren. Ha ha ha. Little girl, just continue fighting. I will cheer for you. Ahem. The old master was not in the right state of mind and did not understand anything. Gu Shi had to stand up and say something since he was Tianshan Manor's manor master. He cleared his throat. Maiden Xiaoqing, today is the old master's birthday. Can you resolve the problems after the birthday party? Just give me some face. What about allowing the people of the Mu family to apologize to you? Mu Ying's face was dark. His grandchild was beaten. How could Gu Shi still ask him to apologize? Chapter 9:15. I agree to this marriage vii. The manor master was indeed unfair. Gu Shi was still smiling. The Mu family apologized to her quickly. Do you really want to ruin the old master's birthday party? I wonder what kind of motives you have given that you're intentionally ruining the birthday party. The people from the Mu family were speechless. Why did you think that we're the ones ruining the party? It's clearly the fault of that woman who attacked first. Gu Shi realized that they were unhappy with what he said. He turned around without acknowledging them. He looked straight at Feng Ruching. Young lady Xiaoqing, what do you think? Fine. Feng Ruching did not mean to ruin the birthday party. She had come to warn them for Suyi's sake. She could always seek revenge from them after jotting down their names. Gu Shi breathed a sigh of relief. He glanced at the people from the Mu family. Quickly, apologized to her. Mu Ying's facial expression darkened. He clenched his fists tightly. He felt that everyone was staring at him. He took a deep breath and advanced toward Feng Ruching. I'm sorry. We were over the line just now. I'm truly sorry. Beat him. Beat him. The old master laughed out loud. Young girl, go ahead and beat him up. I support you. The guests shook their heads and sighed. The old master of the Mu family had indeed gone mad. How could he ask an outsider to beat up his brother? Was it not embarrassing for the Mu family? Father. Mu Ling's face darkened. He stared at Feng Ruqing coldly. The Mu family would not have been humiliated in such a way if Feng Ruqing had not appeared. How could she get into the Mu manor given the fact that the Mu family had never approved her existence? Nan Xian could feel Mu Ling stare. He glanced at Mu Ling calmly. He looked cold and distant. Mu Ling trembled with fear. Mu Ling could not help but withdraw his gaze from Feng Ruqing. What was preposterous was the fact that one's father was afraid of his son. Brother Ling. Chen Qingyan tugged at Mu Ling's sleeves. She smiled and walked toward Sui. Sister Sui, don't care about what they have just said. I'll discipline them later. It's so good that you're back with us. Brother Ling and I have missed you a lot. Chen Qingyan sounded calm and gentle. But it was clear that she was declaring her authority and superiority in front of Sui. She seemed to imply that the Mu family was under her care now. Sui, ignore that bad woman. The old master sneered and turned his head around in annoyance. He did not even want to look at Chen Qingyan. Me for extra chapters. Chen Qingyan felt awkward. But she was used to being treated like that by the old master. She soon recovered herself. Sister Sui, I went to the Southern Ocean for his sake this time. I found the heart of the Southern Ocean. It's a present for him. I wonder what kind of present you have prepared for him. The heart of the Southern Ocean. It was a type of spirit herb. It grew in the Southern Ocean. It was shaped like a shell and it could be used as a medicine. It could cure various illnesses. Surely, it could not cure every illness. Some peculiar illnesses could not be cured. It was not a cure for poisoning too. The old master's illness was not a common one. It seemed that the heart of the Southern Ocean would be useless too. But the heart of the Southern Ocean was located in the middle of the ocean. It was a rather significant spot for the Southern Ocean. It was just like a human's heart. That was why it was called the heart of the Southern Ocean. Additionally, that spot was dangerous. It was rumored that there was a giant dragon guarding that place. So, it was not an easy task to retrieve the heart of the Southern Ocean. Therefore, her deed was considered filial and good even though the heart of the Southern Ocean probably could not cure the old master's illness. Chapter 9:16. I agree to this marriage via Mu Ling's throat was hoarse. He seemed guilty and sorry. Qingyan, you've done a lot for us. Chen Qingyan shook her head and smiled slightly. It's not a big deal. I'm willing to do anything for the old master's sake. Mu Ling would definitely pull Chen Qingyan into his embrace. But Sui was there and he suppressed his urges several times. Sui was willing to return to the Mu family. He could not show off his intimate feelings for Qingyan in front of her. If not, Sui might leave angrily and never come back. Sister. Qingyan smiled calmly. You're close to the old master. You must have prepared something precious for him. Sui smiled slightly. That's for sure. Although the heart of the Southern Ocean is precious, it's useless for the old master. In fact, the heart of the Southern Ocean could cure various illnesses but it could not cure the old master's illness. It was because she had tried that before. Chen Qingyan almost could not maintain her smile. What you have said is indeed true. But I have to try even though there's only a little hope left, right? The old master pushed Chen Qingyan aside and she nearly fell down. Mu Ling quickly rushed to help Chen Qingyan. He kept her in his embrace. Then, he stared at the old master angrily. Father. The old master did not even look at Mu Ling. He protected Sui and shielded her behind her just like how a father would do. That woman is too bad. She must have planned something against you. Ask her to stay away from Sui. Don't let her get near Sui. Chen Qingyan paled. Her eyes were filled with tears. She still could not understand the reason she was being treated so cruelly by the old master given that she had treated him nicely. Mother. Mu Shi and Mu Huan were anxious. They rushed to Chen Qingyan and stared at Sui angrily. Nan Su, Mu Huan gritted her teeth and she wanted to say something. But Mu Ling straightened his body and his face darkened. That's enough, me for extra chapters. All of a sudden, the entire banquet hall fell into a deafening silence. Father, Sui is always my wife. You don't have to doubt that. But, could you please show some of your love and kindness to Qingyan? What has she done wrong? Why do you treat her like that in the banquet hall without caring for the fact that it might humiliate us? Keep your mouth shut. Sui soon became cold and distant. I don't want to argue with you because today is the old master's birthday. But, there's one thing you need to know. I'm not your wife. I have abandoned you when you chose to let go of our love before. Sui. Mu Ling felt great pain. Are you serious this time? I have known Qingyan for many years now. Why are you forcing me to leave her? When have I ever joked about it? If you told me that you have been intimate with Qingyan, I would never have married you. You always claimed that she's your cousin. I didn't dwell on that. But, it appears that I was too stupid. Sui laughed coldly. Mu Ling, you have known her before me. I'll let her have you. From now on, we're no longer husband and wife. Feng Ruqing held Sui's hand gently. Remember, you're the one who has divorced him and not the other way around. Well, send him the divorce papers later. Then, you'll no longer be related to each other. Shut your mouth. Mu Ling was outraged. Feng Ruqing must have persuaded Sui to do what she was doing. It must be Feng Ruqing's fault. Chapter 9:17. I agree to this marriage. Ix Nan Xian looked at Mu Ling. It seemed that he was plotting against him. Diarrhea for a month. No, it was too light a punishment. What about poisoning him? The pain of his organs eroding. That was not enough either. He had only said the wrong things. What about robbing him of the ability to talk? Turn him mute until he could no longer be so fierce toward Qing'er? It was still not enough. Oh, that was right. What about some poisonous ulcers in his mouth? That seemed to be all right. Gu Yi picked up a teacup and threw it at Mu Ling in a swift movement. Mu Ling felt its presence before it hit him. He moved to the side and dodged the teacup. Gu Shi was still sipping his tea quietly while watching his daughter's action. He was smiling happily and he did not have any intention to stop his daughter. Manor Master, what is the meaning of that? What does young Lady Gu want? Gu Shi smiled. Excuse me. My daughter has had the habit of throwing things around since she was young. She was annoyed with you just now and that is why she did not hold back her urges. Young Manor Master Mu Yi is still young. You won't be angry with her, would you? Mu Ling's face was twisted with anger. He would not be angry with Gu Yi surely. So, he turned to look at Feng Ruqing again. Nan Xian is my son. Another teacup was thrown at him again. Mu Ling was able to dodge it. However, the teacup accidentally hit Chen Qingyan. She burst into tears because it hurt her. Young Lady Gu. Father. Gu Yi twirled around and said to her father, he scolded me. Gu Shi broke the teacup in his hand with great force. The smile disappeared from his face. He raised his head expressionlessly. Mu Ling froze. Gu Shi was someone who had murdered his previous manor master because of the conflicts between them. Mu Ling did not dare to infuriate him. Mu Ling suppressed his anger and turned to look at Feng Ruqing. Nan Xian is my... He turned to look at Gu Yi quickly when he said those words. It might be because of the fear of having teacups thrown at him, just like what had happened just now. He found that Gu Yi was eating the fruits without paying him any attention. So, he continued talking after breathing a sigh of relief. Nan Xian is my son. I don't agree to the marriage between the two of you. I'll never allow you to be a part of the Mu family. Moreover, you have even persuaded Sui to do what she should never have done, me for extra chapters. Nan Xian looked at Mu Ling calmly. Then, he turned to look at Feng Ruqing. Can I speak now? He sounded so careful that it did not match his coldness and distance. Oh, what do you want to talk about? Feng Ruqing turned her head all of a sudden. She let down her guard and smiled beautifully. I'm not a part of the Mu family. What Nan Xian had said surprised everyone present. Their facial expressions changed drastically. Did he say that he was not one of them? Did he not belong to the Mu family? They had the impression that Nan Xian was always filial toward Mu Ling. Why did he make a sudden claim like that in public? Brother Ling. Chen Qingyan realized that Mu Ling was going to fly into a rage again. She suppressed her tears and forced a smile. Let's forget about it. It's the old master's birthday. Don't cause any more arguments. If young Lady Feng wants to stay, she could stay. We'll discuss it after the old master's birthday. Is that okay? Mu Ling inhaled deeply. He clenched his fists tightly. His eyes were clouded with deep darkness. That woman had done a great deal. How dare she persuade Sui and seduce Nan Xian? If Qingyan did not say something favorable on her behalf, surely Mu Ling would never have forgiven her. Nan Xian. Feng Ruqing realized that the man next to her had secretly raised his hand. She quickly held his fists. She smiled and said, "You can even tie him up at the entrance of the city when the birthday party is over. Don't forget why we have come today." Nan Xian put down his hand. He was again cold and distant, just like an angel or gods. Mu Ling did not realize that he was nearly killed just now. He was safe now. He glared at Feng Ruqing. Chapter 9:18. I agree to this marriage. Nan Xian was silent for a moment. If you look at her again, it'll make you blind. Mu Ling's face darkened. But, he suppressed his anger because Chen Qingyan was tugging at his clothes. Actually, Chen Qingyan wanted so badly for them to quarrel with each other. However, she still wanted to see how Sui would embarrass herself. She wanted everyone to label Sui as a white-eyed wolf. The old master had treated Sui nicely, but the gift Sui had prepared was incomparable to what she had prepared. Sui did not wait for Chen Qingyan, and soon she took out a jade bottle. This gift was given to me by your granddaughter-in-law before. I have used some of it and kept the rest. I'll give the rest of it to you. If you're feeling better in the future, you can drink its contents. Sui knew about Feng Ruqing's abilities. If Feng Ruqing was willing to lend them a hand, she might be able to cure the old master's illness. Feng Ruqing was rather surprised when she saw the jade bottle in Sui's hand. She turned to look at Nan Xian suspiciously. Was it the spirit water that she had given to Nan Xian before? Why did Nan Xian give it to Sui and claim that Feng Ruqing was the one who had prepared the gift? Mu Huan laughed coldly. She said sarcastically, "My mother has obtained the heart of the Southern Ocean with much difficulty. But, you have only given the old master what you have used before. Isn't it obvious who is the ungrateful one here?" Huaner. Chen Qingyan glared at Mu Huan. It's the heart that counts. It does not matter what kind of gift one prepares. How could we compare them? What you have said is against the sincerity one has. Mu Huan sneered and did not agree with what her mother had said. Her mother was just too naive and nice. That was why she was bullied by Suyi. She was the one who had met her father first. She had the right to be with her father. Suyi was merely someone who came after her mother. Suyi did not even have the right to compete with Qin Han. Is it a drink? The old master looked at Suyi and asked her. Suyi nodded with a smile. Yes, you can drink that when you're feeling better. Oh. That's wonderful. I like delicious drinks. The old master clapped his hands like a child. He could not wait until he was better and went on to immediately open the jade bottle. The cap of the jade bottle aided in sealing the spiritual force within the jade bottle. When the jade bottle was opened, all of the spiritual force rushed out in a gush. The guests could not help but stare at the jade bottle in the old master's hand. Old master. Suyi sighed helplessly. She held out her hand and grabbed the jade bottle. Then, she put its cap back on. It's better if you taste it in private. There are many people here. They might want to snatch it away. Suyi peeked at Qin and her underlying message was quite clear. Qin paled. She appeared helpless. Me for extra chapters. Suyi. Mu Ling was upset to see Qin like that. He glared at Suyi. Gu Shi rushed to the old master before Mu Ling could say anything more. Is this spirit water? Is this really spirit water? Everybody knew that only dark warriors could consume the spirit water. If dark warriors consume only a drop of the spirit water, they could make a breakthrough and advance up to 2 tiers in an instant. If anyone below dark warrior tier drank that spirit water, they would be killed. It was possible for anyone higher than dark warrior tier to drink that spirit water too. But, its effects would be less significant once someone reached a higher tier. Gu Shi could not make a breakthrough directly even if he drank the spirit water. But, the spirit water contained powerful spiritual force. Although he could not make a breakthrough directly, he could still make use of the spiritual force within the spirit water. He could absorb the spiritual force slowly and it would be faster than his normal cultivation speed. Chapter 9:19, Forcing him to take a concubine. The other guests were astonished and their voices became loud and clear. Manor Master, are you saying that what the old master is holding in his hand is spirit water? Spirit water from the spirit spring. Isn't it very effective in aiding the cultivator to make a faster breakthrough? The spirit water is a holy item from heaven. It's something that can only be found by chance. They might have rushed forward to fight for the spirit water if Gu Shi was not there or if the old master of the Mu family was not the one possessing the spirit water. Mu Ling was stunned. Soon, he lowered his eyes and stared at the jade bottle in the old master's hand. His breathing grew quick and short. He was rather excited. The old master was a part of the Mu family. His strength was weaker now and he could not have the spirit water. Even if he was able to do so, he could only drink some of it without finishing the spirit water. The remaining spirit water would surely be his possession given that he was the master of the Mu family. What do you want? The old master anxiously held on to the jade bottle in his hand. He was vigilant. My daughter-in-law has given it to me. No one can snatch it away from me. If anyone dares to do that, I'll ask the butler to beat them up. The butler who was nearby was speechless. Qinjian's face darkened. She clenched her fists tightly. She had actually wanted to embarrass Suyi in front of everybody. But, she never thought that she herself was the one being defeated. She could not accept the truth. Besides, both Mu Shi and Mu Huan did not feel as much as Qinjian. They felt that they would be able to share the spirit water given that the spirit water now belonged to the Mu family. Qin Feier did not say a word since Feng Ruqing and Nan Xian had appeared. Her fair complexion paled. It seemed that life had drained from her body. She stared at Nan Xian in great pain. It was a deep sadness. She appeared to have been wronged and was deeply hurt. Her mother told her before that Suyi only treated Feng Ruqing as her daughter rather than her daughter-in-law. It was ridiculous when she had just seen what happened in front of her. Nan Xian was always a filial son. If he listened to Mu Ling and took a concubine, he would definitely listen to Suyi too. It was not so bad if Nan Xian's wife was Gu Yi. But that awful woman would be his wife instead. When Yu held Qin Feier's trembling hands, she looked at her own daughter, her heart aching. Feier, we're at the Mu family. Don't say anything now. Let's see how young Master Mu deals with it. He will surely give us an appropriate explanation. Qin Feier bit her lower lip. She lowered her head and hid the sadness in her eyes. Me for extra chapters. The Mu family would be responsible to her. But young Lady Mu claimed that Feng Ruqing was her daughter-in-law. Did they want Qin Feier to give in to allowing Feng Ruqing to be Nan Xian's wife? If Nan Xian obeyed Suyi and was determined to marry Feng Ruqing, she did not know whether she could keep her composure anymore. However, there was a great pain gnawing at her heart when she thought of giving up that godlike man. That pain was insufferable. Father. Chen Qinyan glanced at Enchui who was standing behind her. Her eyes were dark. Then, she turned to look at the old master. Today, I want to announce good news since everyone is here. The old master was suddenly on his guard again. What kind of good news? Also, don't call me father. I'm not your father. Chen Qinyan was not bothered by what the old master had said. She smiled and turned to Gu Shi. Manor Master, I hope that you'll be our witness. Gu Shi raised his brow. He looked at Chen Qinyan with uncertainty. He did not know what Chen Qinyan was planning to do this time around. It's rare that Sienna is here with us. I want to make a decision today given that it's the old master's birthday. I want Nan Xian to take young Lady in as his concubine. Chen Qinyan smiled gently, seemingly calm and relaxed. Chapter 920, Forcing him to take a concubine. However, what Chen Qinyan said sounded like a huge punch to everybody. Mu Ling was no exception. He was stunned at first. Soon, he became slightly angry. Qinyan, stop messing around. What are you doing? And Chui was expelled from the chief manor. She was useless indeed. How could she ever be suited to Nan Xian? Both Feng Ruqing and Nan Xian acted like they did not care at all. They were chatting with each other happily as if they did not hear what Chen Qinyan had said. Although I'm no longer a part of the Mu family. But my son is the eldest son of the Mu family. Suyi laughed, softly. She appeared calm just like the breeze. But why am I unaware that the marriage of the eldest son is decided by a concubine? Chen Qinjian's eyes became watery. Her eyes were filled with pitiful tears. Sister Suyi, we're sisters. Nan Xian is just like my son. I did this for his sake. Young Lady An met with Nan Xian when she left Tian Shan Manor not long ago. They slept together that time. How could he not be responsible for that? If you don't believe what I said, you could ask somebody else to go and check her up to see whether she's innocent. All eyes fell on Enchui. Enchui paled. She appeared helpless. She turned to look at Chen Qinyan anxiously. Chen Qinyan had planned to make use of Enchui to trick Nan Xian into falling into a trap she had set for him. She wanted Enchui to stand between Nan Xian and Feng Ruqing. Surely, she would not care about how the story went on Cui's side. She just wanted to achieve her goal. Losing one's innocence before the marriage was prohibited in the mainland. The public would not care whether they really loved each other. The men were allowed to be with whomever they wanted. But the women would be blamed for the rest of their lives if they lose their innocence before marriage. And Shui had risked everything this time just to be married into the Mu family. Brother Ling. Chen Qingyan turned around with a pitiful look. Have I done anything wrong? Nan Xian slept with young Lady In. I couldn't help but do what I have done for her reputation. I'm sorry, Qingyan. Mu Ling's heart was aching. I shouldn't be angry with you. I have misunderstood you. He soon raised his head and stared at Nan Xian with angry eyes when he finished talking. He scolded Nan Xiang sternly, Nan Xian, you bastard. How could you do this kind of dirty thing and run away from your responsibility? Why do I have this kind of son? Now, you must marry young Lady In immediately. Mu Ling knew his son's personality. Nan Xian always appeared to be calm and distant. He seemed not to care about anything in the world. Nan Xian did not even utter any word just now when the Mu family had said so much. Me for extra chapters. Clearly, Nan Xian would not speak much under such circumstances. Normally, Nan Xian would surely reject this kind of proposition. But there were a lot of people. He would never disobey Mu Ling if he wanted to protect his reputation. A soft laugh was heard in the peaceful banquet hall. Feng Ruqing smiled happily. You said that whatever you're doing is to help protect her reputation. But you have pushed her forward and revealed the truth about her loss of innocence. You have even suggested to us to have her body checked by someone else in front of everybody here. Is that really your way of protecting her reputation? Qin Qinggan paled. I am just afraid that Nan Xian would refuse to be responsible when he has taken advantage of her. How could young Lady In survive from now on? Brother Ling, I have done that because I was forced to do so. I didn't intend to ruin young Lady In. That's enough. Mu Ling was outraged. He scolded Feng Ruqing, I know what you're doing. Don't you want to be a part of the Mu family? I'm telling you now. It's impossible. Not everyone can be accepted to be a part of the Mu family. Chapter 9:21, Forcing him to take a concubine. A heavy pressure came over Mu Ling and it made him unable to breathe. His whole body froze like a stone. All his words were stuck in his throat and he could not speak out loud. He looked around with a shocked expression. But his gaze fell on Nan Xian, who was still calm and cool. No. It was not him. Nan Xian's strength was not that powerful. This suppression came over Mu Ling like a giant mountain. Nan Xian could never possess such powerful strength. In fact, cultivators needed to cultivate their strength endlessly days in and days out no matter how talented they were born. They could never be as powerful as that in under so short a time as 20 years. Young Master Nan Xian. And Shui cried harshly and rushed toward Nan Xian. She seemed pitiful. You promised that you would be responsible for what you have done when you touched me that day. I've given you everything. You cannot leave me behind. A sword flashed by before the young girl could touch Nan Xian. Her arms were chopped off and her fresh blood gushed out. The time seemed to have stopped right at that moment. The man's robe was still snow-white under the moonlight. Not a single drop of blood stained his clothes. He seemed cold and distant as if he did not care for the world. He remained godlike. However, although he had an angelic face, he was doing what the devil would have done. And Shui fainted from great pain. Her face was white as a sheet because she had lost too much blood. Her face was twisted in agony. Enriching did not allow Enchui to faint there and then. She moved forward and took out a green jade fruit and fed it to Enchui. It was a fruit called the emerald grape. It was able to refresh one's mind. It meant that Enchui would not slip out of consciousness no matter how much pain she was in. And Cui's senses were magnified. She curled up into a ball from agony. She was frightened and panicking. Luckily, her blood had stopped because of the spirit herb. However, her pain did not disappear but simply worsened. And Cui's arms were chopped off. If she was left there alone, she might die after a short while from losing too much blood. Enriching did not intend to let her die so soon. At least, she wanted Enchui to speak for herself. She wanted Enchui to tell the truth. Nan Xian. Mu Ling used a lighter tone this time, but there was much more anger in him. What have you done? You bullied that young girl first. Now, you are treating her like that. Why are you no better than the beasts? The Mu family's reputation was ruined by Nan Xian. All eyes fell on Nan Xian and Enriching. They could not help but inhale sharply. Me for extra chapters. Those people were devils. He had bullied an innocent girl and then treated her so cruelly. How could he do so? Nan Xian remained calm and cool. His tone was light and soft. He did not seem to care at all. I have erectile dysfunction. What? Enriching nearly choked on her own saliva. Erectile dysfunction. Then, what was the thing against her body when they were lying on the same bed back then? Everyone was shocked. It was obvious that Nan Xian's response was beyond their imagination. Chen Qingyan claimed that Nan Xian had slept with Enchui. But, how could he stain her innocence if Nan Xian had erectile dysfunction? If Nan Xian was the one lying here, was it possible that a normal man would claim that he had erectile dysfunction in front of everybody? Men usually like to boast about their capabilities. Why would he slander himself and ruin his own reputation? If what Nan Xian said was the truth, it meant that Enchui was a terrible woman. She would risk everything in order to achieve her target. I'm able to prove that. Gui raised her hand. She got up from her seat and smiled happily. In fact, I plan to keep quiet about it for the Mu family's reputation. Hence, I lied that Nan Xian has another lover and I rejected the marriage out of anger. But, it's my father who has investigated Nan Xian secretly and realized that he has erectile dysfunction. That was why we have rejected the marriage for my happiness. Chapter 9:22, Forcing him to take a concubine. For Gu Shi's eyes widened. He was wondering when he had investigated such a thing. But, he remained calm and serious for his daughter's sake. He replied, solemnly, that's right. That's why we have broken off the engagement. How could I push my daughter into a deep fire pit and let her remain there for the rest of her life? The crowd was shocked. That explained why Gu Shi was infuriated at first. It could all be explained now that they knew of Nan Xian's problem. Everything could be explained now that the truth was revealed. Everybody believed in Nan Xian after Gu Yi and Gu Shi had spoken. They threw sympathetic glances at Enriching. She would surely be having a difficult life by staying with a man like that. Enriching was beautiful and captivating. She would surely be unable to endure the pain of loneliness and have affairs with the others after she was married to Nan Xian. Then, they would have their chances. It's impossible. Chen Qingyan paled. You have erectile dysfunction. If you do have that, why does Sister Sui want so badly for you to marry somebody? Why would young Lady Feng be with you without ever abandoning you? Nan Xian looked at Chen Qingyan, calmly. It's because she's able to cure my illness. The underlying message was that Nan Xian could not be with any woman except Feng Ruqing. Feng Ruqing was the only one who could discern his underlying message. The others understood that Feng Ruqing was a doctor and surely she could cure Nan Xian's illness. Young Lady Feng. The wife of Grandmaster Qian Kun's adopted son walked toward Feng Ruqing with a smile. My adoptive father has always talked about you. Now, I can see that you're really a talented person. He has even said that he wanted to discuss medical skills with you one day. He even told me that young Lady Gu has become this beautiful and dazzling woman because of your medical skills. If I want to slim down in the future, I'll surely ask for your help. All of a sudden, the ladies and young ladies present turned their gazes at Feng Ruqing. Their eyes shone with excitement. Everybody yearned to become much prettier. Everybody knew what Gu Yi looked like in the past. Now, they had heard that it was much to Feng Ruqing's credit. They all looked at her. Nan Xian grew cold when he saw how Feng Ruqing had attracted the women's attention. He pulled Feng Ruqing into his embrace. It seemed like he was trying to show his ownership. Fine. Feng Ruqing was always gentle toward women. She did not reject the lady when the lady approached her directly. She smiled softly. You're welcome to come and meet me anytime you like. Her smile was dazzling and captivating. Me for extra chapters. She could dazzle anybody even if she was saying nothing significant. Mu Ling did not scold Feng Ruqing this time around. He stared at Feng Ruqing with renewed hope. Was she able to cure erectile dysfunction? Then, could his illness be cured too? If Feng Ruqing could cure him, he would surely allow her to become Nan Xian's concubine as her compensation. There's me too, another girl stood up. Her face was pinkish and cute like a doll. I have dark-eyed circles recently. I'm wondering if young Lady Feng could cure that too. Of course. You can come and meet me for this kind of thing in the future because I have something else to deal with now. Feng Ruqing lowered her eyes and stared at Enchui with a faint smile. Enchui was still in a muddled state of mind since earlier. She had plotted for a long time that she never thought that Nan Xian had erectile dysfunction. When Enchui saw how Feng Ruqing looked at her, she became nervous and frightened. She rolled away from Feng Ruqing by dragging herself toward Gu Shi with her wounded hands. Uncle, please save me. I didn't do that on purpose. I really didn't. Chapter 923, Forcing him to take a concubine. Gu Shi closed his eyes. Enchui had been staying in the Gu family for quite a long time. It was impossible if he did not have feelings for her. But, he could not anger or sadden his daughter for an outsider's sake. So, he turned around and refused to look at Enchui. And Cui's heart turned cold. If her uncle refused to care for her, the others would surely kill her. Suddenly, she saw a pale face in front of her. She cried and rushed toward Qinyan, grabbing onto the last surviving hope. Lady Qinyan, my uncle has abandoned me now. You cannot leave me alone. You're the one who has ordered me to do all of these things. You told me that I could force young Master Nan Xian to marry me if I use this method. It's you who has asked me to lose my innocence beforehand. Lady Qinyan, save me. I don't want to be Nan Xian's concubine anymore. I want to go home. The entire banquet hall fell into a deep silence. What Enchui said sounded like a great thunder and it rumbled loudly in everyone's mind. They could not grasp what was happening for a long moment. Was Qinyan the mastermind behind all that had happened? Was she the one who had ordered Enchui to frame Nan Xian so that Nan Xian could be forced to marry Enchui? How could she be that shameless? They had always thought that Qinyan was a kind and gentle person. How dare you? Qinyan trembled. It was you who has told me what happened later on. I took you here because I'm thinking about your reputation. Now, you want to frame me when the truth is revealed. And Shui, how could you repay my kindness with such a deed? Her tears ran down her face ceaselessly. She seemed to be in great pain. Her pain of betrayal was so deep and real that no one would think that she was acting. Mu Ling was doubtful at first. But all he felt was guilt when he saw how miserable Chen Qingyan appeared. How could he distrust her? Qingyan was always gentle and kind. She could never be as cruel and evil as other women. And Shui must be the one who had plotted everything. Now, she wanted to frame Qingyan when everything was revealed. This kind of person was detestable. Get lost. Mu Ling kicked Shui far away. He was enraged. You need to be responsible for everything that you have done. Qingyan would never do such a thing. Chen Qingyan cried even harder when she had gained Mu Ling's trust. Brother Ling, thank you for believing in me. I didn't ask Shui to frame Nan Xian. She's the one who has done everything to herself. We've been together for so many years now. How would I not know about your personality? Don't cry. I will always trust you even though I don't believe in anyone else. That was right. He would always believe in her even though he chose not to trust anyone else. Me for extra chapters. Chen Qingyan lowered her eyes and put her head against Mu Ling's chest. Her lips curled up into a smug smile. It had always been that way all these years. Mu Ling did not trust the old master and Mu Qingying. He did not trust Sui and Shui either. He only believed in her. Feng Ruqing grabbed Sui's hand tightly. Feng Ruqing was saddened by how Sui was being treated in the Mu family. Mu Ling did not believe in anyone else except Chen Qingyan. Similarly, he believed in everyone else except Sui. Yet, he kept claiming that he loved Sui deeply. That kind of love was ridiculous. Sui gave Feng Ruqing a smile. She seemed to be assuring Feng Ruqing that she had let go of the past long ago. What Mu Ling and Chen Qingyan did could not stir any emotions in her anymore. She was as calm as still water. The others were not as blind as Mu Ling. They did not have that kind of strong feelings for Chen Qingyan. Moreover, they were not idiots. Chapter 924. Everybody came to congratulate him. Everyone believed in Chen Qingyan before that happened. Now, they had different opinions regarding her personality since they had realized something else about her. Sui. Mu Ling patted Chen Qingyan's back and consoled her. Soon, he turned to look at Sui. Sui, it's Qingyan who didn't investigate into the matter and hence she has nearly accused Nan Xian wrongly. Since Nan Xian really adores young Lady Feng, it's fine even if he wants to marry her. But, you do know about the Mu family's rules. She can only be a concubine given her background and birth. Sui sneered sarcastically. I'm an orphan and have nobody else to support me. Didn't you marry me too back then? Being married to Mu Ling had only one silver lining for Sui. She was grateful that she could have Nan Xian as her son and Feng Ruqing as her daughter-in-law. Her heart felt much better after she thought about that. Mu Ling frowned slightly. Sui, it's not the same. How could Sui be compared to Feng Ruqing when Sui was the woman he had adored while Feng Ruqing was the woman his son adored? He would not care about influences and power as long as he adored her. But the woman picked by his son must be suited to his family if he wanted to get married at all. In short, Nan Xian's sufferings had nothing to do with him since he was not the one who would have to endure all the pain. Young Lady Feng is indeed beautiful. But being attractive is not something very significant and useful in this world. We must choose a woman whose birth and background is suited to our family. Young Manor Master Mu is right. The Mu family would never allow him to marry any woman he adores. Moreover, young Master Nan Xian claimed that young Lady Feng could cure his illness. It means that he will be better one day. Surely the Mu family will only allow young Lady Feng to become Nan Xian's concubine. It's a pity. Young Master Nan Xian is a filial son. He will surely listen to his parents. Nan Xian could not marry young Lady Feng openly and honorably since young Master Mu is the one making the decision here. No father would admit that their children were unfilial in front of everyone. Mu Ling valued fame and vanity. He would never speak the truth no matter how Nan Xian had disobeyed him. He even claimed that Nan Xian was a filial son. Mu Ling's facial expression darkened when he heard how the others talked about Nan Xian. He was afraid that Nan Xian would disobey him in front of everybody. Luckily, Nan Xian still appeared calm and cold. He walked toward Mu Ling calmly without any facial expression. He was neither angry nor happy. It seemed that he had not much unnecessary emotion. Nan Xian. Me for extra chapters. Boom. A strong and powerful force hit Mu Ling's chest without any forewarning. His body was flung away before he landed on the stage in the banquet hall. Pin-drop silence fell upon the banquet hall. Mu Shi was rather excited compared to the others. The others appeared shocked and surprised. How dare Nan Xian attack his father? He would surely be ruined this time. He would no longer be a part of the Mu family. Ha ha ha. The old master held the jade bottle in one hand and pig's trotters in the other. Now, he threw the pig's trotters happily and laughed hysterically. Finally someone has beaten him up. Ha ha ha. That's wonderful. Go ahead and beat this bastard up. Beat him. Si patted the old master's hand. Your table is knocked over. Let's go down and take a seat there. Good, I'm still hungry. The old master smiled happily and followed closely behind Sui. He was still clutching the jade bottle in his hand tightly. He was afraid that someone might come and snatch it away. Brother Ling. Chen Qingyan was frightened out of her wits. She rushed toward Mu Ling quickly. She then helped him to get up and stared at Nan Xian with sorrowful eyes. Nan Xian, what are you doing? He's your father. Chapter 926, Everybody came to congratulate him. 3, Bastard and Bitch. Mu Ling clenched his fists tightly. He would totally have rushed forward and killed them both if Nan Xian did not show his great power just now. He was slightly afraid of Nan Xian's true strength. Bastard and bitch. Are you talking about you and Chen Qingyan? Feng Ruqing smiled. You knew that long ago, didn't you? I thought that you're unaware of it. It seems that you're much better than I thought you were. Mu Ling turned around and saw Chen Qingyan's pale face. Mu Ling's heart hurt when he saw Chen Qingyan's pitiful face. It was agonizing for him. Bitch. Mu Huan seemed fierce. She raised her hand and slapped Feng Ruqing hard on her face. Si jumped up all of a sudden. Gu Yi drew the sword of an imperial guard near her and now she was rushing toward Mu Huan too. The smile on Gu Shi's face disappeared suddenly. He seemed cold and fierce. Nan Xian brought Feng Ruqing into his embrace and looked Mu Huan coldly. He wanted to do something about it. But Feng Ruqing had stretched her leg out and given Mu Huan a harsh kick. Mu Huan was a spirit warrior even though she was only 18 years old. Her talent was exceptional even in the reclusive world. But everyone knew that Mu Huan's talent was aided by numerous spirit herbs. Her true strength still could not be denied even if it was the truth. Now, all of Mu Huan's arrogance and pride was crushed by Feng Ruqing. Mu Huan crashed against the wall in front of everybody. She vomited a mouthful of blood. She was not graceful anymore. But her face was twisted with frustration. Sui cares for the old master very much. Will not kill any member of the Mu family for his sake. Feng Ruqing looked down on Mu Huan with a condescending look. But, if anybody dares to provoke me or act like an elder and scold Nan Xian, it'll definitely make it a battlefield here. I won't hold back anymore no matter what day it is today. No one dared to be so rude toward Mu Huan since she had become Grandmaster Hai Rong's disciple. Feng Ruqing was the only one who dared to do that. Let's forget about it. Chen Qingyan threw a glance at Mu Huan and tried to stop her from doing anything else. She pursed her lips. Today is the old master's birthday. We don't have to be so nasty toward each other. Let's tolerate each other. I really had no idea about Ncuy's plan. She's the one who has plotted it. She turned her focus back to Enchui. Me for extra chapters. That was when they realized that Enchui had been forgotten and ignored for a long time. But Enchui fainted again from the pain as the spirit herb had lost its effects. Forget about it. Mu Ling hugged Qin Qingjian's waist tightly. Nan Xian is disrespectful toward me. His woman even more so. How can we forget about that and let it go? Nan Xian raised his hand again secretly. At that moment, a sound pierced the night sky. Nan Xian's fierce anger disappeared. Great Elder of Fengyun clan presents a gift to congratulate the old master for his 70th birthday. Fengyun clan. The crowd looked at each other. They did not understand what had happened. Fengyun clan was founded some 10 years ago. But it has improved much in such a short time. It's indeed rather amazing. Fengyun clan might be able to surpass the three influences if they were given 100 years. But the three influences have existed for over 1,000 years. They own not only great strength but also numerous rare treasures. It's a pity that none of the young people from the three influences are geniuses. Their talents are built and cultivated through the use of spirit herbs. There's young Master Nan Xian from Tianshan Manor. Jiu Ming comes from Deity's Gate. The Divine Herbs sect is the worst. There are no such talented people in the Divine Herbs sect. I could see that Fengyun clan will soon become the Divine Herbs sect. It'll surely replace the Divine Herbs sect in less than 100 years. Chapter 927. Everybody came to congratulate him, for it was amazing given that Fengyun clan could achieve such power and influence in only slightly over a decade. Everyone soon noticed them. They were on their guards against Fengyun clan. The three forces could be so powerful and condescending given that they have 1,000 years of background in history. They built their power with spirit herbs. They assumed that they could create a genius using the spirit herbs even though there was none among them. But it was only a tactic that could only be used for a short period of time. If the supply of the spirit herbs depleted, they would still be replaced by the other clans. Fengyun clan seemed to be advancing in that direction. Great Elder Lei Yun appeared in the moonlight. Hong Yu and a few others followed closely behind him. He soon saw old Master Mu standing next to Sui. He could recognize him at first sight. Old Master Mu, Tianshan Manor is quite far from Fengyun Manor. That's why I'm late. Lei Yun smiled and waved his hand. Hong Yu, quickly present our gift to the old master. It's for the old master only. He emphasized that the gift was only for the old master. Mu Ling's face darkened. Yes. Hong Yu carried a box that was used to store the spirit herb, respectfully. She bent down in front of the old master. There's a grade 7 spirit herb in the box. It's Snow Lingji. Snow Lingji. Everyone sucked in their breaths. The heart of the Southern Ocean could cure numerous illnesses. But the Snow Lingji could save one's life as long as they were still breathing. Feng Ruching was touched by what her parents had done. They must have gone through a lot of troubles in order to obtain the snow lingji. They did that just to give her their full support. Mu Ling was not bothered about Feng Yun clan before. But now, he was greatly shocked. Great 7 spirit herb. How did the people from Feng Yun clan obtain that? Lei Yun noticed the other's surprised expression. However, he remained calm. He smiled. My manor master mentioned that we're going to become in-laws with the old master soon. It's not a loss if we gave the snow lingji to the old master. We just hope that the young lady and the old master would treat our young lady nicely. Great Elder Lei Yun had never mentioned Mu Ling from beginning till the end. It seemed that he was ignoring Mu Ling. Me for extra chapters. Mu Ling would surely feel angry if he was ignored like that in the past. But, all his attention was captured by the snow lingji. He stared at it for a long time. The others did not know about Lei Yun. But, Si had met him before when she was in Luyun Kingdom. Surely Si recognized him and knew that he was Feng Ruching's mother's subordinate. She smiled and wanted to receive the gift for the old master. But, Guiyi became infuriated and stood up immediately. Who's your young lady? Why has she come to disrupt them? Do you really assume that Xiao Qing could be easily bullied? Everyone wants to bully her. What else can Nan Xian do for Xiao Qing other than seducing her? He's just a vixen. He has even brought her so much trouble. It's better if Xiao Qing ends up with me. Feng Ruching was dazzled. She turned her head slowly and gazed upon Nan Xian's handsome face. Was Nan Xian a vixen? When was Nan Xian associated with vixen? Mu Ling was shocked. He felt that Guiyi's response was weird. Young lady Gu, what do you mean? Guiyi stared at Mu Ling, angrily. Don't you know what I mean? All of you want to bully Xiao Qing. Xiao Qing, just forget about that vixen and marry me instead. I promise that it'll never cause so much trouble. I can even cook for you, warm your bed, be your palace maid, and build a harem for you. Nan Xian was a germaphobe. Regardless of the fact that the person was Feng Ruching's friend. So, he tore off an innocent youth's clothes and wrapped them around his hand. Then, he advanced toward Guiyi and grabbed her clothes. Soon, she was dragged out of the place. Nan Xian then threw her out harshly. Chapter 928. Everybody came to congratulate him. Nan Xian completed those series of actions in a swift movement. Gu Shi did not even manage to respond to it before his daughter was thrown out of the banquet hall in front of everybody. Vixen Nan Xian. Guiyi got up angrily. She rushed toward the entrance of the banquet hall. You just want to drive me away so that you can have Xiao Qing all to yourself. Boom. The door of the banquet hall was slammed shut in her face. The young girl's angry voice was muffled. Guiyi stamped her feet angrily on the other side of the door. She cursed at Nan Xian and all of his family members as well as his ancestors. But, it became quiet again in the banquet hall. Gu Shi could not hold the teacup in his hand properly, so it fell to the floor. He seemed awkward. Young Master Nan Xian, Yi is only joking around. I hope you won't mind. Everyone thought that Gu Shi would be infuriated with what Nan Xian had done. But Gu Shi had only made a light remark on that. In actual fact, Gu Shi could not have done anything to Nan Xian. Feng Ruching loved Nan Xian and Gu Shi's daughter adored Feng Ruching. If Gu Shi harmed Nan Xian, his daughter would surely fight him to death anyway. Nan Xian stopped walking. Get her married in 3 months' time. Gu Shi was speechless. Read more chapter on novel. Full. Nan Xian had pinpointed the wish that was buried deep down in Gu Shi's heart. Gu Shi wanted so badly to get her married, too. Mu Ling's facial expression worsened. He clenched his fists tightly. His breathing became erratic. Initially, he had picked Tang Yin from the Tang family to be Nan Xian's wife. But Feng Ruqing had captured Tang Yin's heart instead. After that, he had gone and looked for another woman for Nan Xian. It was after much toil that he had found Guiyi. But Feng Ruqing had captured her heart too. He was uncertain whether he was helping Nan Xian or Feng Ruqing to search for a wife. Great Elder Lei Yun, I'll agree to this marriage since you want to become our in-laws. It was impossible for the Mu family to become in-laws with the chief manor now. Me for extra chapters. Fengyun clan was still slightly weaker than the Qin family and the Mu family. But, he did not have to compare them now. He could wait patiently. It was possible if they allowed Nan Xian to marry the manor lady of Fengyun clan. In short, anyone was better than Feng Ruqing. Lei Yun wanted to respond to that, but soon he remembered Nailan Yan's order. He was hesitant for a moment. Then, he gathered his courage and replied, "My manor master told me that young manor master Mu could not decide upon Nan Xian's marriage. It must be between Lady Si and I to decide upon this marriage." Mu Ling paled right 10. His face turned white then green interchangeably. It was just like a dye house. Great Elder Lei Yun, what do you mean? Mu Ling gritted his teeth and asked harshly. Suyi only approved of Feng Ruqing. If she was the one appointed to make the decision here, she would surely reject that marriage. Mu Ling became calmer when he thought of that. You might not know what actually happened. Suyi is being deceived by someone else. She will accept no one. You can ask her to be sure, I agree. Suyi smiled and replied calmly. The banquet hall became noisy and alive again. Everyone could see how Suyi had treated Feng Ruqing just now. They realized that Suyi was quite satisfied with Feng Ruqing to be her daughter-in-law. Why did she agree upon that marriage so easily? Luo Li and Qin Feier were confused too. They stared at the girl who was smiling happily. Ha ha ha. Great Elder Lei Yun laughed out loud. He stroked his sleeves and turned to walk toward Feng Ruqing. Young lady, Lady Si has given her agreement. It's a pity that His Majesty and the Manor Master could not be here today. We need to wait for them to make the final decision. We're just making a verbal promise now. Mu Ling secretly breathed a sigh of relief when he heard what Suyi had said. But his face froze before he could say anything further. Chapter 929, Everybody came to congratulate him. 6. What did you just call her? Mu Ling turned his head gingerly. He stared at Lei Yun blankly. It seemed as if he was struck by lightning. She's my manor lady. Lei Yun smiled happily. He sounded polite. All the air seemed to disappear around Mu Ling. He felt like he could not breathe anymore. His face turned red. Was Feng Ruqing the manor lady of Fengyun clan? Did Fengyun clan not just use slightly over a decade to become so powerful that they were only slightly weaker than the three major influences? It was impossible. That was definitely impossible. Han Feng had investigated her identity before. She was only a royal princess from the secular world. She did not even come from the reclusive world. Luo Li became calmer after listening to what Lei Yun had said. She assumed that Suyi had given Feng Ruqing up and had chosen the manor lady from Fengyun clan instead. It appeared now that Lady Suyi was well aware of Feng Ruqing's identity long ago. That engagement would be proper and well suited. My grandson is going to marry soon. It's wonderful. The old master clapped his hands and laughed ecstatically. I trust your insight, Suyi. You have only judged Mu Ling wrongly. You always have good insight. Ha! My grandson is all grown up now. Finally, he's going to have a wife. Xiao Qingyin, when are you going to get married? Mu Qingyin coughed softly. Father, I have told you. I cannot ruin the lives of other innocent girls. Read more chapter on novel full, I don't care. You must marry. Otherwise, I won't eat or drink from now on. Let me starve to death, the old master said in a huff. Mu Qingyian's lips twitched. If you are using hunger strike to threaten me, could you please stop eating that pig's trotters while you're making that claim? Who would believe what you have just said if you're doing that? At that moment, another sound was heard in the dark of the night. It soon broke the silence of the banquet hall. Guardian Fenglong from Paramount. I have come to congratulate the old master on his birthday. Paramount. All of them were shocked. They turned toward the entrance, suspiciously. Me for extra chapters. It appears that the young master from Paramount is from Deity's Gate. Why are the people from Deity's Gate coming to congratulate old Master Mu on his birthday? He's working for young Master Jiuming, too. Moreover, Paramount's business is really good now. It's quite popular. Although it is opened in the secular world, young Master Jiuming's identity is special. They also sell effective herbal dishes. Paramount has become famous all over the mainland. However, we have only heard of the young master from Paramount but have never met the owner. Doesn't Paramount's owner come from Deity's Gate too? Someone like young Master Jiuming would bow down to anybody else other than the people from Deity's Gate. Feng Ruqing gazed at Fenglong, who was advancing toward them under the moonlight. She had an uneasy feeling. She subconsciously retreated a few steps and stood behind Nan Xian. Fenglong soon saw Feng Ruqing's awkward retreat. She laughed softly. She had a feeling that the princess would not give the young master up so easily this time. Old master. Fenglong took light steps toward the old master. We're here to deliver you some gifts from Paramount. Come and bring them up. Yes. The palace maids behind Fenglong lined up in rows. Every palace maid carried in their hands a box storing the spirit herb. Spirit herbs were considered rather rare and special in the mainland. Thus, everyone would consider giving spirit herbs as gifts. It was the same situation for Paramount, which was famous for selling spirit herbs. The people from the Mu family were deeply shocked. They stared at the boxes and gulped in nervousness. They were stunned. Chapter 930. Everyone came to congratulate him. Fenglong was aware of the peeping glances, but she just smirked as if she did not care about them at all. These spirit herbs are prepared by Paramount only for Old Master. In another word, the rest of the Mu family members were not entitled to even a bit of it. Everyone's smile faded, awkwardly. Why did this message sound similar to Fengyun clan's? On behalf of my father, I sincerely thank young Master Jiuming. Mu Ling shot a fierce glance at those Mu family members who were eyeing the gift hungrily before turned his focus to Fenglong. He softened his voice when he said, since Paramount has already emphasized that these spirit herbs are solely for my father, I think everyone else has understood it well. These past few years, the Mu family had provided Old Master with many precious spirit herbs, so Mu Ling did not care about these spirit herbs. He only cared about the spirit water in the Old Master's possession. Fenglong smiled softly and said, these spirit herbs are not given by the young master. Mu Ling was stunned. Not Jiuming. Who else could take this much of spirit herbs from Paramount and send them to other people as gifts? Since it isn't from the young master, the only person who has such access must be Paramount's owner. Nobody had heard about Paramount's owner, although they were aware that the person must be someone from Deity's Gate who was ranked higher than Jiuming. However, none of them had ever seen the clan master before, so everyone was curious about this person. Mu Ling was shocked after listening to Fenglong's revelation. His eyes filled with confusion. Paramount's owner. The Mu family and Paramount were never on friendly terms. Why did Paramount's owner send such precious spirit herbs to the old master? Read more chapter on novel full Feng Lan turned to Feng Ruching, slowly. When Feng Ruching noticed Feng Lan's presence, she had that feeling of uncertainty that made her feel uneasy, especially when Feng Lan mentioned Paramount's owner. Her head was going to explode from the sudden shock. Jiu Ming. How dare this bastard play a prank on her? Our owner is young Master Nan Xian's fiancé, so it's only proper for Paramount to send a present to the old master for his birthday. If this incident had happened in the past, Mu Ling would definitely have been delighted and would even have forced Nan Xian to marry Paramount's owner. However, too many things had happened on the same day in addition to Feng Yun clan's presence at the beginning, so Mu Ling felt his heart skipped a beat after Feng Lan was done talking. He followed Feng Lan's gaze and saw the exquisite and attractive beauty. Me for extra chapters. His handsome face suddenly went pale. Mu Ling trembled and clenched his fists, helplessly. Feng Ruching, why was it Feng Ruching again? She was Feng Yun Manor's young lady as well as Paramount's owner. How could he say something so foolish like demolishing Paramount? If he knew that Feng Ruching was Paramount's owner, he would not have had to try so hard to bring Paramount down. The divine physician belonged to Paramount. As a clan master, Feng Ruching could easily order a physician to treat people, which was an easy task for her, but must he look trouble with Feng Ruching in the first place? Mu Ling trembled even harder. To him, it was not a surprise. Not even a little excitement. He would rather someone else be Paramount's owner instead of Feng Ruching. His relationship with her had turned sour and they were in the worst situation now. The rest of the people noticed Feng Lan's glance as well, so everyone turned to Feng Ruching. Would you believe me if I say that I don't know her? Everyone was silent. Chapter 931, everyone came to congratulate him. Ha. You don't know her. If you do not know her, would she dare to claim that you're Paramount's owner? They had never seen someone who would insist on giving this honorable title to other people. Why would Feng Lan insist on forcing this title onto Feng Ruching but not someone else? Master, Feng Lan smiled genuinely and said, young Master Jiu Ming has mentioned before that Paramount was founded because of Empress Nalan. As her daughter, the position of Paramount's owner naturally belongs to you. When you claim that you do not know me, it really hurt my feelings. Have you forgotten about our memories together in the palace the other day? Nan Xian's body emitted a faint vicious aura and he seemed to have grown tense. A hint of coldness flashed in his eyes as he looked at Feng Lan expressionlessly. Feng Lan was not bothered by Nan Xian's murderous stare. When she saw that Feng Ruching did not respond to her, she chuckled and continued, Master, you usually accept any beautiful woman who runs into your embrace. Why do you treat me coldly? Why? Don't you know the reason? Feng Ruching cursed, silently. She had helped Jiu Ming to prank her. She had not paid for that. Qing'er, Nan Xian circled Feng Ruching's waist with his arm and said, once we go back, you must change all of your female guards to men. Why? Because, Nan Xian hesitated but continued with a serious expression, allowing them to stay by your side will affect their chances of getting married. Read more chapter on novel full. Feng Ruching could somehow sense that the way Nan Xian uttered his request was a bit awkward and timorous. However, Nan Xian did not make it obvious and had managed to portray himself in a flawless manner. He still looked gorgeous and stunning as usual. Sui could not refrain herself from clearing her throat. Nan Xian could actually just go straight to the point. Affecting the girl's chances of getting married. Although it was part of the truth, since when was Nan Xian concerned about other people's marriage? It was actually due to the attention that Qing'er was receiving from the women as they were too fond of her and she had never rejected their kindness and love. That was why women were serious threats to him compared to men. Gu Yi had managed to sneak in when those people arrived at the scene. Once the words reached her ears, she puffed up and exclaimed, "I will go back and tell Xiao Yin that you want to chase us away from Xiao Qing so you can have her to yourself. Xiao Qing, please do not believe a single word from this vixen. He has done this on purpose." Me for extra chapters. Oh, Feng Riching suddenly realized something and muttered, but the state preceptor must have his own reason. Otherwise, why aren't Tang Zi and the other girls married yet? Gu Yi's eyes widened in shock. How could Xiao Qing believe these ridiculous excuses from Nan Xian's mouth? Feng Riching frowned as she thought before muttering, "Wait until I am back. I will start with the iron-blooded troop to make sure my girls get married before they can return to my side." Contentment flashed through Nan Xian's handsome face after hearing Feng Riching's words. The corners of his mouth curved up. He could not help but smile, and it was a genuine one. Nan Xian was known as someone who hardly smiles. When Gu Yi saw a gentle smile plastered at his face, she felt that he was provoking her. She cried out in frustration and hurried away into the dark of the night like a big, spoiled child. Feng Riching was surprised by her sudden tantrum as she turned to Nan Xian with a confused look. "What's wrong with Yi?" Nan Xian replied with expressionlessly, "Perhaps she has a stomachache." At this moment, Gusher felt sorry for his beloved daughter for the very first time. His daughter was such an innocent girl and was, undoubtedly, incomparable to Nan Xian, this cunning vamp. Why she not just get married to an ordinary guy? Must she fight with Nan Xian over a woman? She would never win against Nan Xian either in an argument or a fight. In fact, she was not a match when it came to Nan Xian's manipulative skill. Why must she torture herself like that? Chapter 932. Everyone came to congratulate him. 9. Nan Xian. Mu Ling was pulled back to reality. Instead of putting on his usual deadpan face, the corners of his mouth twitched and lit up before he managed to utter in a calm voice, "Since you are back now, why don't you stay at the Mu family's?" Bang! The moment he stepped toward Nan Xian suddenly raised his hand and gave him a blow straight to his chest. Mu Ling was pushed back by 2 steps as he was not expecting the assault. His face turned ghastly pale and he was stunned for a few seconds before he managed to suppress his anger. It was he who had asked for a favor, so he must endure everything for now. "Father!" Mu Huan clenched her fists tightly. "Nan Xian has just attacked you and Feng Riching has injured me. They must explain for themselves." "You shut up." Mu Ling frowned slightly, looking at her foolish antics. Since when has his daughter become like Mu Shi, who was not clever enough to observe the current situation? Not only was Feng Riching the house lady of Fengyun clan, but she was also Paramount's owner. Looking at the current situation, he could only depend on Feng Riching in order to treat his erectile dysfunction. Mu Huan's snow-white complexion face went red after being scolded in front of everyone. "Huaner." Chen Qingyan quickly pulled Mu Huan's hand and shook her head. "Your father has his own reason that he cannot speak about." Erectile dysfunction was indeed something that he could not speak about openly. However, they did consult Grandmaster Hai Rong before. They did not reveal the whole story but had told him that one of Mu Ling's brothers had been poisoned, so he had ended up with erectile dysfunction. Grandmaster Hai Rong had managed to identify the poison from the mouth. He had also mentioned that the only cure was the Golden Dragon's blood essence. However, the Golden Dragon's existence was just a myth, so Mu Ling had been targeting Paramount. Why must it happen to be Feng Riching? Why must Paramount's owner be her? Me for extra chapters. In the past, she had lost to Sui, then Mu Shi was literally pinned under her son. In the end, even her son-in-law could not match hers. Chen Qingjian's heart sank. A hint of coldness and cloud flashed in her eyes, but it disappeared without a trace as quickly as it appeared. Sienna. Mu Ling spoke with a softer tone, I am just trying to care more about you. You, excuse me, Feng Ruqing pursed her lips. Our state preceptor is a cleanliness freak, so he doesn't like people close to him. It's best if you stay away from him. Of course, I won't let him kill you. I won't let him tarnish his reputation as well, but if you dare to get close to him, I will not hesitate to kill you. Without waiting for Mu Ling's response, Mu Shi emitted a faint vicious aura before cutting her off coldly. What makes you think that you can kill my father? Feng Ruqing laughed. Feng Lan, bring out the spirit wine. Before she left, she had sent a batch of spirit wine to Paramount for sale. However, before the jars of spirit wine were available in the market, Paramount's elders had bought all of them. Once Feng Lan received Feng Ruqing's command, she had taken out a jar of spirit wine that was just sold by Feng Ruqing a while ago without any hesitation and presented it to her with full respect. Wow! Once Feng Ruqing opened the wine jar, a strong aroma of spirit wine filled the air, immediately catching everyone's attention, making them fixated on it. They started drooling over it. You can get this spirit wine from Paramount in an unlimited amount as you desire. Feng Ruqing's lips curved upward. Let's say I want to demolish whole Mu family, I am not only willing to give this spirit wine to everyone who is present here, but I will also provide 10 drops of spirit water to all clans. How many of you are willing to do so? Chapter 933. Everyone came to congratulate him with the temptation of spirit wine and spirit water. Everyone was hyped up and their eyes fell upon Mu Ling's face. Even Qinli had forgotten the alliance and glanced at Mu Ling. I don't like drinking, but Gusher narrowed his eyes and smiled. Lady Shaoqing, are you really willing to provide 10 drops of spirit water? Yes, for real. She could get any amount of spirit water as she desired, but naturally, she could not speak about it openly, so she was only willing to take out 10 drops. Nevertheless, 10 drops of spirit water were sufficient to help a strong man break through his cultivation level. Gu Shirt stroked his chin and fell into deep thought. There were also many people from Dark Warrior tier in this manner right now. If one person took 1 drop each, they could create at least 10 more powerful men. Well, this spirit water was totally worth it. Lady Feng, am willing to carry out your command, but I wish to have 10 jars of spirit wine. 1 jar is definitely not enough for me. Am willing to. However, Lady Feng, Mu Huan's master is Grandmaster Hai Rong, therefore the consequence of fighting against Master Hai Rong is quite disastrous. I need something better for my escape later, so would you give a few more drops of spirit water? Gu Shi took the lead in bargaining, making everyone present forget about their fears and reveal their inner thoughts. Some people had even taken this opportunity to start bargaining. Regardless of Feng Ruqing's decision, this presented the Mu family with an answer. As long as Feng Ruqing nodded, a lot of people were willing to kill for her. What about Grandmaster Hai Rong being strong? Read more chapter on novel full. They still had Gu Shi to shatter the enemy and break through the front line. Besides, Feng Ruqing was Paramount's owner, and Paramount was supported by Deity's Gate. With the 2 great forces of Tianshan clan and Deity's Gate, would they lose to a single person, Hai Rong? Mu Ling's face darkened and he seemed terrified. Then he chuckled curtly without smiling. Lady Feng, we did have some misunderstandings earlier. It was due to Han Feng's wrong information, which has caused so many misunderstandings between us. If he had known of Feng Ruqing's real identity, he would not have objected to the marriage arrangement even if she had been married before. Both Gu Yi and Tang Yin had already broken off the engagement. There was only Qin Fei left. How could Qin Fei be compared to Feng Ruqing? She could only be a concubine. The position of the first wife must belong to Feng Ruqing. Misunderstanding. Sui smirked and stood up. You sent someone to poison Qing'er just to make her infertile. And you put the blame on Nan Xian. Or did you mean to create a misunderstanding between both of them? Mu Ling's facial expression went stiff. He felt a little embarrassed as his bad deed was exposed to the public. Big brother. Mu Qingyin was shocked and her eyes widened. How could you even do such a thing? Me for extra chapters. He had asked someone to poison the poor girl just because he did not agree with Nan Xian marrying Feng Ruqing, intending to cause her to be infertile. Old Mu Ling was just an idiot in the past. Since when had he become such a wicked and cunning person? Ha! Gu Shi sneered. I am really watching a good show today. You have poisoned somebody but you are claiming it to be just a misunderstanding. Young Manor Master, you are so cruel. At this moment, Mu Ling was hoping, desperately, to find a hole to hide. However, there was no trace of guilt on his face, only embarrassment. He did not regret what he had done. He only regretted not being careful enough in hiding it from being exposed to the public. Sister Sui. Chen Qingyan came forward with a light smile. Perhaps you have misunderstood. I trust in Brother Ling's character, he will not do this kind of thing. Moreover, today is the old master's birthday celebration. Sister Sui, why would you ruin my father's birthday party? Mu Ling's eyes fell upon Chen Qingyan's face as his thin lips pouted ever so slightly. He had not revealed his plan to poison Feng Ruqing to Qingyan, yet Qingyan completely trusted him. Chapter 935. Mu Ling was beaten up by Feng Ruqing loathed her so much, she would never agree to let her be the concubine. Wen Ye's eyes were full of emotions and she was plotting something. Everyone had their own weaknesses. Since Feng Ruqing had such a good relationship with Qin Yu, then Qin Chen must be her weakness. For her daughter's sake, she would do anything even if she had to use unscrupulous methods. Qing'er, come and sit next to me with Nan Xian. Si calmly and elegantly filled the teacup in front of her. She raised the cup and smiled gently. Without any warning, she smashed the cup in front of Mu Ling. The hot tea splashed everywhere. Mu Ling hurriedly blocked it with his hands but the tea still splashed on him. Mu Ling, if you dare to plot something against Feng Ruqing, then what happened to this cup is what will happen to your Mu family. Mu Ling's face turned ghastly pale. He did not blame Sui for prioritizing Nan Xian. After all, Nan Xian was her son. It was normal for Nan Xian to be the apple of her eyes. However, why did Feng Ruqing receive such blessing and support from Sui who was willing to go against him a few times just for her? Sui, Mu Ling always knew how to adapt according to the situation. In this case, he could only suppress the dissatisfaction in his heart. He tried his best to speak calmly. As long as you are willing to return, we have no issues of you letting Nan Xian marry her. The only requirement is your return. Sui chuckled softly. Since I have decided to come back this time, I have no plans to leave. You people, thinking that I will not return for many years, are taking this advantage to bully Nan Xian and Feng'er during my absence. As a mother, how can I sit calmly and ignore them? Yes, she did not intend to leave this time. The only reason she had been enduring their antics was the old master's birthday celebration. She did not want to ruin his birthday celebration at all. However, these people never gave her this final piece. Read more chapter on novel full, Lady Feng, These Spirit Wines, in the banquet hall. When Feng Ruqing was approaching Sui, she heard a voice coming from the side. She turned to the source of the voice and found a middle-aged man. She looked at him and chuckled. Luoli, regarding the name list I have asked you to jot down before, have you written the names of those who have sided with Mu family? Luoli nodded vigorously. There are a few people talking bad about them secretly, so I have jotted them down, and some people, their expressions were not appropriate as they seemed a little scornful. "Oh yes, some people have checked you out as well. I remember all of them." "Good. Please keep them in your mind. These people are banned from our service, so we won't be providing them any spirit wine." The middle-aged man's smile suddenly went stiff. "Me for extra chapters. This lady really bear grudges." However, the fragrant smell of spirit wine was too alluring. He could not even contain himself as he turned to look at it. From time to time, the sound of drooling and gulping could be heard in the banquet hall. Suddenly, a voice broke the silence of the night at Moo Manor. It was like a pebble thrown into the pond that caused ripples. "Grandmaster Hai Rong has come to congratulate Old Master." Grandmaster Hai Rong. This sound of this name was as loud as thunder, roaring into Mu Ling's ear, turning him ghastly pale, instantly. He looked nervous and angry. He was nervous about Grandmaster Hai Rong's sudden appearance, and his anger was directed at Mu Huan. Mu Huan had informed him earlier that Grandmaster Hai Rong had left Tianshan City. Why was he here to join the old master's birthday celebration? I have no idea. Mu Huan noticed Mu Ling's unusual facial expression. She shook her head calmly with no hints of nervousness in her eyes at all. Chapter 936, Mu Ling was beaten up. Master would eventually find out about this incident sooner or later. Unfortunately, the occasion was not right. Looking from another perspective, she no longer needed to cover up. She could take this opportunity to show her father that she had become Grandmaster Hai Rong's apprentice based on her own achievements and efforts. It had nothing to do with Sui at all. Mu Manor is very lively today. Ha ha ha. Grandmaster Hai Rong laughed heartily and strode through the dark of the night. He was wearing a grey robe, looking divine with a sage-like poise. He was smiling the whole time, so it was difficult to guess his emotion from his face. Countless surprises, excitement, and panic expressions appeared on the guests' faces. The surprise and excitement came naturally from being able to see Grandmaster Hai Rong in person. As for panic, they were willing to go against the Mu family for spirit wine just now. Did Master Hai Rong purposely come after them after knowing this incident? It was undeniable that Feng Ruqing had the support of Tianshan clan and Deity's Gate. However, only a few people from Paramount here represented Deity's Gate. Just Gu Shi alone would not be sufficient to scare off Grandmaster Hai Rong. They might end up in a stalemate. However, what about them? Read more chapter on novel full. They were not Hai Rong's opponents. In case Hai Rong got angry and decided to destroy them, they had no chance to escape at all. Grandmaster Hai Rong, this is Wu Lin from the Wu family. At the banquet, a man wearing a green robe stood up and said, charmingly, I have long honored the name Grandmaster Hai Rong. It is indeed my pleasure to be able to meet you today. By the way, this woman had just forced me to fight against the Mu family. It wasn't my intention, it was her persecution. Grandmaster Hai Rong should investigate this matter. No matter when or where, there would always be someone who bends with the wind. The person would follow whoever was in power. Me for extra chapters. Feng Lan squinted and shot that man a cold glare. You are afraid of this old man. Does it mean you are not scared of Paramount? The guy in green robes was stunned and his expression went stiff. He did not give much thought about offending Paramount. All he knew was that if he did not make his intention clear now, he would have no chance to escape. Some others stood up. All of them were pushing the blame onto Feng Ruqing, but they did not realize that the faces of the people of the Mu family were getting paler and paler, and they were not excited to see Hai Rong at all. They were willing to be tempted by spirit wine just now, not because of Tianshan clan and Deity's Gate, but also because they could leave quickly after they have succeeded. Even if Hai Rong was very strong, he would not know who was the culprit was due to big number of people present. But not now. Hai Rong had come for the Mu family. It was obviously unwise to offend the Mu family now. Hai Rong put one hand behind his back. With a smile on his face, he looked at Mu Ling with a grin. Mu Ling, I'm here to participate in the old master's birthday celebration. Aren't you happy to see me? Mu Ling recovered from his surprise. He faked a cough and smiled reluctantly. Of course, I am happy. It's just that, I heard from Mu Huan saying that you have left the city. Now, you are here to join us, that's why it is out of my expectation and I was a bit surprised. Huaner, please bring your master to his seat. Yes. Mu Huan came forward with a smile and stretched out her hand to help Hai Rong. Master, allow me to bring you to the table. Looking at Mu Huan's hand, Hai Rong avoided her and walked away without giving her a second glance. He walked toward Feng Ruqing. Mu Huan's smile awkwardly froze. Her hand was left hanging in the air. She felt a cold aura headed in her direction. Chapter 937, Mu Ling was beaten up. She turned her head stiffly and saw that her most trusted master was standing in front of Sui. I came here today for the old master's birthday celebration, and there is one thing that I want to announce in public. He just glanced at Sui, and closed his eyes. Mu Ling subconsciously sighed in relief. It seemed that Hai Rong had forgotten about Sui's appearance and did not recognize her after so many years. Sui was with the old master, therefore, he had assumed that Hai Rong's words were addressed to the old master. Grandmaster Hai Rong, please feel free to make the announcement. All right. Hai Rong glanced over Mu Ling, and then looked at all the people present. All these years, you all know that I am Huaner's master. I am also aware that many people are present today as they know that I will be attending this birthday celebration at Mu Manor. If this statement were made by someone else, it would have sounded arrogant and shameless. However, the person who said this was Hai Rong. Only Hai Rong had such capability and honor to make with such a statement. He had treated so many incurable diseases. Many strong warriors had been rescued by him. Of course, it was the same year, and a year later that Hai Rong was no longer willing to heal people, and no one knew why. He never accepted any more apprentices, so Mu Huan was the first and the last. Read more chapter on novel full. Therefore, today, I wish to announce to the whole world that I, Hai Rong, am cutting off all ties with the Mu family, and Mu Huan is no longer my disciple. The old man's words struck like thunder everyone's heart like a lightning, making everyone tremble in shock. What was going on? Why did Hai Rong publicly announce Mu Huan's expulsion? Master! Mu Huan's face went pale, her body was trembling, and her proud eyebrows were filled with sadness and tears. Master, have I done something wrong? Are you going to drive me out of the door? If I have done something wrong, please tell me, I will change it. Hai Rong's heart almost softened when he looked at Mu Huan's dejected and sorrowful face. However, he quickly toughened up. He did give Mu Huan a last chance to make things right. If a few days ago, she had told him the truth at the tavern, perhaps then, he would still forgive her. Me for extra chapters. However, it was too late now. Huaner was a scheming and conniving person. He was reluctant to let his good reputation be tarnished by her action. Grandmaster Hai Rong, Chen Qingyan was a little agitated and she quickly made her way toward Hai Rong. She pleaded, Huaner has always been an obedient girl. What has she done wrong that made you so angry? Please tell us. If you tell us, we will definitely ask her to correct her mistakes. Hai Rong's smile faded slowly from his face. He glanced at Chen Qingyan coldly before he replied, What's wrong? Don't you, the Mu family, know the situation better? You have treated me like a fool. You have lied to me for almost 20 years and now, you are asking me what is the matter. Chen Qingyan trembled in fear. Grandmaster Hai Rong did recognize Sui. But why did he not ask anything before deciding that the Mu family was lying to him? Suddenly, Chen Qingyan somehow knew the answer, which made her tremble in fright. Before this incident, Grandmaster Hai Rong must have met Sui. That was why he knew Sui's real identity without having to ask any questions. Chen Qingyan bit her lower lip in desperation and closed her eyes in despair. Her ghastly pale face made her look even weaker. Chapter 938, Mu Ling was beaten up. For Mu Ling finally understood everything. He knew that all the explanations were useless at this moment, and now he even regretted requesting Mu Huan to bring Hai Rong back in the first place. Hai Rong had not only failed to cure the old master's illness but had also exposed all of the Mu family's lies to the public. This time, the Mu family had completely lost him. Suddenly, Mu Ling's eyes lit up as he realized something. No, the Mu family would not lose Hai Rong's support. As long as Sui was willing to forgive him, Hai Rong would certainly be able to forgive him. Grandmaster Hai Rong. Gu Shirt stood up with a smile, his sharp eyes glanced at the Mu family members who had been silent since just now. May I know what is going on? This question was the most anticipated by the rest of the people who were wondering about the same thing. Especially the group of people who had been trying to clarify their relationship with Feng Ruqing just now. They wanted to know what was the cause of the sudden bad blood between Hai Rong and the Mu family. 20 years ago, I had a spirit herb that was about to wither. Back then, Lady Sui had given me a drop of golden blood, which had helped me save that spirit herb. Hai Rong smiled and continued to explain. We found out that we had great chemistry after talking to each other, and it had blossomed into a close friendship. Since then, every few months, she would come to my mountain for a few days stays to discuss and do research on medicines with me. She had also helped me to solve some problems. I owe her a favor, and promised her a condition as well. Grandmaster Hai Rong lived remotely in the mountains and rarely left his place. Moreover, Sui's personality pleased him and brought some joy into his life after years of loneliness. He finally got someone to accompany him and discuss medicine, which made him really contented, so he treated her like his own daughter. However, Sui had suddenly disappeared and never showed up again. Read more chapter on novel full, until one day, Mu Ling came to see me with Mu Huan. He had requested me to accept Mu Huan as my apprentice in exchange for the favor that I owed Sui. The funniest thing was, I had never asked for Sui's name despite knowing her for a long time. I always thought that she and Mu Ling were siblings. Until I went down from the mountain and met Chen Qingyan. She addressed Sui as her sister. If they were really siblings, then Chen Qingyan would not have addressed Sui as her sister. After questioning for some time, Chen Qingyan and Mu Ling claimed that Sui was their distant cousin sister. Me for extra chapters. Ha ha ha, what a joke of a distant cousin sister. Back then, I did not know that the young lady was actually Lady Sui from the Mu family. A concubine has chased away the legal wife and tricked me to return Sui's favor in order to set the path for her daughter's future. Silence filled the air. The shocking revelation by Hai Rong was totally unexpected, and it was far more interesting than drama. Perhaps before tonight, everyone had thought that although Chen Qingyan was just a concubine, she was gentle and considerate and was willing to treat her husband's son as her own. She had maintained a good character and taken good care of the family. For many years, she had taken care of the old master without complaint and regrets. Despite being scolded and beaten, she had never said anything. But now, this shocking news was enough to make everyone abandon their prior beliefs, leaving everyone shocked and unable to extricate themselves. Mu Ling and Chen Qingyan's shamelessness was way over the boundary. How could they take advantage of someone's kindness to give Mu Huan a better future? No matter how good Mu Huan was, she was just a concubine's daughter. How could Mu Ling do this? No wonder Lady Mu and Nan Xian had left the Mu family without a second thought. The biased treatment was far too much for one to bear. At this moment, Chen Qingyan could feel the icy cold stares from everyone. She felt extremely exposed and humiliated.